Alrighty, so let's go back to the beginning of this card, shall we? So we got Kevin Holland versus Reinier de Ridder. And Reinier de Ridder is a former one champion. Now, obviously, he lost his title to who is now I think he is still the triple division champion. I don't know. I don't want to make anything on that, but I know he fought this guy twice, and the dude took both his titles, but he was the triple division champion at ONE FC. And if you know Reinier de Ridder's style, only saying that because I haven't really looked at the ONE rankings for a while. I got to get myself up on that. But, man, if you look at his style, how does he match up against Kevin Holland? Now, is Kevin Holland the same as the guy that took his titles? I don't think so. In fact, if we compare ONE caliber to UFC caliber, unless you're talking Ben Askren, I feel like they're roughly around the same. So I feel like Reinier de Ridder has a lot more tread on the tires. Now, stylistically, let's say like they were the same durable guy, I would think Reinier would definitely want to take Kevin Holland down, put on some ground pound, go for a submission, because that's kind of where he shined. When it came to the striking realm, that was where, things kind of fell apart for him. That was his one weakness. And Kevin Holland is a pretty dynamic striker. So if Kevin Holland catches Reinier de Ridder on something fancy that he doesn't see, we could see a serious upset. Because Reinier is still my favorite. I'm not going to count Kevin Holland out, even though Kevin Holland mentally is at that place where I feel like he's just there to be there. He's not going for a title. Reinier kind of is. So we'll see where this goes. But Kevin just wants to be there to entertain the fans. I can't fault him on that. If he wants to stick around and continue to be like a non-ranked gatekeeper, he could go on ahead. I don't really have an issue with that. But as of the Roman Dolidze fight, which I felt wasn't going to go his way, I just feel like every other fight he takes is just another detriment to his health. And I don't like to see that. And honestly, Kevin Holland is such an entertaining guy. He could go and do streaming or something like that. So, you know what a good scenario for Kevin Holland at this point would be is if he beats Reinier somehow, like knocks him out or is able to out-submit him or even work his grappling. Because if he were to beat Reinier, that would be a statement that he is still really good and still really primed to be fighting in the top echelons of MMA. But, I think, honestly, if I were in Kevin Holland's shoes and I was in his spot where it's like you're a win some, lose some kind of guy, don't you think you're probably better off getting out of the UFC and then maybe starting a Twitch stream? Like, let's call it Kevin Holland's Gameland. I'm not going to be his manager, but I know that's a pretty bad name. But I'm pretty sure he'd probably make a better name than I would. I'm not much of a I don't know how to make Twitch stream names or anything like that. But with Kevin Holland, I feel like, honestly, he could go into acting. He could go into a lot of different other things. Because, honestly, he just seems like a guy of character, a stand-up dude. And overall, just, he's in it for the right reasons. He wants to serve us fans. But there comes a certain point, like what we saw with Tony Ferguson, where he did everything for the fans. Eventually, you get enough damage and things just start to give way. Are we going to see it in this fight against Reinier? I don't know. But it's just kind of a toss-up. But if you're going to ask me right now, since Kevin Holland's kind of there for entertainment purposes and he always just tends to have one foot out the door and is mentally checked out, Reinier de Ridder, I feel like, is just going to be a serious favorite because if he gets Kevin Holland down to the ground and Kevin's not able to deny his takedowns, it's probably going to be a one-sided beatdown because, dude, like Reinier with his judo/jiu-jitsu style that I've been looking at and everything against Gerald Meerschaert. Yeah, Gerald Meerschaert did give him some issues and it wasn't a completely one-sided thing. So that's why I'm like saying, okay, you know what? I'm not going to completely count Kevin Holland out. In fact, honestly, if Kevin Holland's able to capitalize on something, I think he can. Okay, but it depends on how the fight starts, depends how it goes. There's a lot of factors to go in. MMA math is non-existent. It only takes one shot. But just on paper and seeing how Reinier is adjusting to the UFC caliber stuff, he's getting it done. He didn't come out of the Gerald Meerschaert fight damageless, but I do think Kevin Holland is that perfect next step up in competition. And if he loses to Kevin Holland, though, and his career is like a 1-1 in the UFC, I guess MMA really can take up your lifespan just a whole lot. But those are my thoughts on that matchup. And you know what? It's like, you got to give props to Kevin Holland for stepping up and saying, I'm going to take on this guy who is a former 2-division champion from one and who only lost to one guy twice. Other than that, he completely dominated and hasn't lost a fight since. I mean, he's only lost 2 fights to one dude who ended up becoming a triple champion in ONE FC. So for Kevin Holland to step up and take this matchup, I don't know. Is he looking to make a statement, or is he looking for a way kind of out the door at this point? Because who knows? If he loses this fight, like I'm saying, man, game streaming, going for Warzone. I think he already does that, to be honest. But if he does that full time and continues to, and like just let's say he already has it done. I'm not too familiar with who's streaming and who's not. I know Demetrius Johnson does it. I know Max Holloway does it. I don't know about Kevin Holland. Someone's gonna have to report to me on that one. I'm gonna go do some more research on that. However, if he wants to back out of the UFC and go do whatever entertaining thing he's doing, or if he wants to make a YouTube channel just about his life, consider me subscribed. But that's what I got to say about this one, and on to the next. Cheers.